Mayor, the council is asking for more transparency from LMPD. You've been vocal about similar issues. Are there any other changes they should consider?
Well, it's important this police civilian review work group that we have underway come out with a work product that can be an ordinance that'll be passed within the next month or two, and then I'll sign that into law so that we start these investigations so civilians know more about the case from the very beginning. Right now, there's too much what's perceived as secrecy, and when people see that, they don't trust the process. The truth always comes out, so what we're looking for is that balance between a citizen's right to know and a police officer's due process rights. So we've got transparency and accountability. Good police officers want that as well, because that type of transparency and accountability leads to more police community legitimacy, which leads to more trust, which leads to safer cities. So it's all part of a reform process that's taken place around the country. This is our version of it here locally, and we need to have a better balance than what we have right now.
And Mayor, this past weekend we saw demonstrations with two main groups here in Louisville. They included many people from out of town. How do you think those demonstrations were handled, and what do you think about those other groups who could be coming to Louisville to protest?
Obviously, there was a lot of concern last weekend. We had two armed militias in town. It's amazing that you would even say something like that, but when you combine the First Amendment with the Second Amendment, that's what takes place, and that's what's legal. So LMPD's job then is to make sure that's done in a peaceful way. So absent that one of the NFAC members having friendly fire and shooting three of their own folks, it was a largely peaceful event where the First Amendment was exercised. LMPD did their normal planning for an event like this. They executed it well. They coordinated with the protest groups. Everybody went home. So good job to LMPD. Our local protesters also, I think, were a good part of the solution as well to making sure peaceful protests took place.
Louisville's seen many more than twice as many shootings so far in 2020 than we did at this point last year. How is your office working to address the increase?
No, this increase in shootings and homicides that we've had here in July has been horrible and unacceptable. What we're seeing is a lot younger people participating now is both the shooter and the victims. I mean, kids as young as 14. The changes in the state gun laws now, where you can just wear a gun basically on a chain around your neck, and is leading to a lot of problems. So instead of people just working their beefs out, they'll see somebody that they think they have a problem with, either on the internet or in person, pull out the gun and shoot them. I mean, it's really gotten to a sad point for us as a society. So we call on everybody, just to, please consider your actions behind each and every one of these kids or young people as a family that's grieving. For a mom or dad at home, if your child has a gun, take it away from them. We know that too many kids are in this kind of life that we have here in America, in our city as well. So we're working with local community organizations. Obviously, LMPD is working on it. Yesterday, there was an announcement by the U.S. Attorney and LMPD and others about one of our gangs in town being arrested in a good number. So there's a lot of activity going on, both the amount of guns that we have on the street and the amount of people that refuse to use normal means to mediate disputes. It's a very toxic combination. So drugs, guns, gangs, bad combination, but we're going to continue to work on it.
Mayor, another serious issue right now. Many renters are waiting to see if an eviction moratorium will be lifted later this week. The city has set up a fund to help people pay rent. Are there any other steps you plan to take if that moratorium expires?
Well, I hope the moratorium doesn't expire. I'm proud that the city has put aside $21 million in rent relief. Most recently, before that, part of the One Louisville Fund, $11 million was for that as well. A lot of folks, obviously, through no fault of their own, are without a job because of this pandemic, this crisis that's coming once in a lifetime. So what's really important right now is, we have the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House of Representatives negotiating on this next round of coronavirus relief. I encourage everybody, call your Congressman, John Yarmuth, call your U.S. Senators, Rand Paul, Mitch McConnell, urge them to get to a decision here soon so we can have the next round of relief, because people are going to need this. If you can't pay your rent, you can't put food on your table, that's a real problem for us. So nobody did anything to cause this pandemic to happen, and the only really organization that's big enough to make an impact on this is the federal government.
Earlier in this newscast, we just saw how you're working with Metro Council members to declare racism a public health crisis. What are some specific ways that you're following up on that to address the issue?
Well, first off, I'm grateful that so many people now are open to hearing something like this. the protests around the country, here in our city, a lot of people have woken up to the fact that we're imbalanced as a society between black families and white families. When you think about the age discrepancy from one part of town to another part of town, under-resourced versus privileged being 15 years life discrepancy difference, that's just not right. And so when you put together all of kind of the historic issues around racism and institutional issues around it, that's what results in what today's disparity is. And if you're thinking this isn't a problem, put yourself in the shoes of the person on the other side of town that's going to live 15 years shorter than you are. So what needs to come out of this is more equitable investments in housing, in health care, education, food security, so that everybody has the same chance to have a life that they can live their dreams are. And so we've got to take these issues head on, and I'm grateful that people are now starting to really pay more attention to this.
And Mayor Mitch McConnell and the Senate Republicans introduced a new coronavirus funding package this week. You mentioned a little bit about it. You've been vocal about the need for state and local funding. Yeah. What do you see that's helpful in that bill, and are there any changes that you would hope to see?
Well, what's important is we'll have a $90 million problem here within this budget and next budget total if we don't get further relief from the federal government. So when you think about that amount of money, what that translates to is less police officers, less firefighters, less EMS. It goes on down the list. You can't have an economic recovery if your city governments are not delivering basic services. So there's not a lot of good news in this current proposal that came out of the Senate in terms of direct relief towards city governments, local governments. 1.5 million people have already lost their jobs between city and local governments. That number could go above 5 million jobs if there's not the appropriate relief coming from the federal government. So now's a time where cities of all sizes, big and small, really need to be putting their voice into the U.S. Senate to say this type of help is needed. So that's city government. On the good side, we're seeing more relief coming for people that have lost their jobs, some one-time payments. This is such an unusual time in our country's history right now. We haven't really seen stuff like this before, but we're going to need it to get to the other side of this pandemic.
You said yesterday that you're concerned with several of the large events that are coming up in Louisville for the next couple of weeks. What are your specific goals? What are you looking for to make sure things like the State Fair and the Street Ride Nationals can take place here?
When any of us go to these events, what we want to see is 100% of the people wearing face masks, okay? You know, we know what works in terms of stopping the virus because it jumps from person to person. So face mask, extraordinarily important. It's a simple thing, right? It's simple in terms of its effectiveness, but it's a simple thing for somebody to do. So between that and social distancing, that really will help us quite a bit. So what we're trying to do, everybody, is figure out how do you learn how to live with this virus? How do we keep our economy going, but how do we keep everybody healthy? And we haven't quite found that balance yet. You know, we're having a spike here in Louisville. Our positivity's down a little bit today to 7.14%. But if everybody wears their mask and social distancing, we'll see that number come down even further. We do not want to see happen here in Louisville what's happening down in Florida and Texas, where their situations are like 10x worse than ours are. So it's in our hands. If everybody wears a mask, stay social distance, we'll get this under control.
All right, Mayor Fisher, thanks for being with us this evening.
Thank you all.